Hi guys, so today we are going to be discussing more about what this class looks like, and this is the last day we're going to do this. Tomorrow we are literally jumping into history and we're not stopping until the AP exam, okay? So this is our last prepping and revving up kind of day. Today we're going to be discussing your weekly work expectations in APUS history. So there are assignments every day posted in Google Classroom, and there are reminders every day posted in Google Classroom about these things. But I just want you to know what you've gotten yourself into, and it's going to be a fun adventure. It's going to be a fun ride, but it's going to be difficult too. This class is going to push you to think differently. This class is going to push you to study differently and to work differently, because history is a lot of history, a lot of reading and a lot of writing. So you've got to change your habits so that you don't feel like you're drowning, okay? So let's take a look at what we'll be doing every week in AP, okay? So every week in AP, you're going to be using this, your APUS history textbook. I know it's old and maybe yours is falling apart. Yours should have had a folder in it when you picked it up on your Chromebook pickup day. But this is a fantastic textbook. It's very representative of all peoples. It has lots of information in it. And if you don't read this, then you probably won't pass the exam. And here's why. I don't have time, whether we're in person or on NTI, to teach you absolutely everything about U.S. history. And the AP exam says absolutely everything about AP U.S. history is fair game. So my lectures are great. The work that we do in class is great. The document analysis that we do is great. But if you don't read this, you're not getting it all. And so there's a chance that you won't pass. What if they ask you something on the AP exam that I didn't cover specifically in class? But if you read this, then you might have an idea about what it is, okay? So this is your textbook, and you also are given a link, and hopefully you joined it on the first day of school, a Quizlet link. Okay, over here on the right, you'll also see a link to Quizlet, and you can actually click on this. I'm going to link this all on your Google Classroom, okay? And this takes you to Quizlet, and Quizlet we're going to talk about in a second. But you have that to do every week. So let's first talk about lecture, because we're going to have one or two of those every week. So what does lecture look like when we're on NTI? When we're in person, lecture's a lot different. We'll get to that if we come back in person, okay? But for lecture, when it comes to NTI, here's what we're going to be doing. You're going to be watching my videos, and some of them are a little bit old. I look younger in them. You're going to be watching them on Edpuzzle while taking handwritten notes on the notes outline that I sent home with you. I sent home with you 2 units worth of notes outlines just in case. The first unit is called Period 1 and 2, and it is the first lecture is called Contact. So the first page should say Contact in bold up at the top, okay? So basically, what is Edpuzzle? It's like YouTube, but it slows you down a little bit. So I'm going to click over and show you guys what Edpuzzle looks like. So this is Edpuzzle. A link will be posted on Google Classroom. The first time you click in, it'll ask you to sign in. Always use your school Google stuff to sign in for anything your teachers want you to sign in for. You're at stu.anderson.kyschools.us email address to sign in, okay? Then you're going to watch this video, and I'm usually over here in the corner doing something. I'm going to mute it really quick because I don't want to hear myself talk. And you see I've already watched like 5 minutes of it, and every once in a while it'll pause. You see it just paused? And ask you a question. What areas of the New World did the French successfully colonize? And I know the answer. I'm going to say the Mississippi River Valley and Louisiana. Sorry, I'm a terrible typer. Okay? And I can either go back and rewatch, and it'll kick me back so that I can rewatch the video and get the answer, or I can hit submit. You cannot hit skip. Here's why you can't hit skip. Ms. Keller's checking that you answer every single question. And that's how you're going to get your points for those lecture days, okay? So I would hit submit, and it will say it is to be graded. Thank you for turning in your answer. Hit continue. It'll let you watch the rest of the video. And you see this video is 18 minutes long. It has 5 different questions, okay? So you'll be watching all your lectures on Edpuzzle. While you are watching, though, remember, you're supposed to be taking handwritten notes. Edpuzzle does let you pause. So I would, at the end of every slide, when I'm about to click onto the next slide in the video, hit pause, write everything down, and then write down a summary of what I said. You're not only writing down what's on the slide. If you only write down what's on the slide, you're going to look back at it and be like, what the crap did I mean? Okay? you need to write down what I say as well, because me, as your teacher, I know this stuff. I'm explaining it to you. So take notes as you go, not only of what's on the slide, but also what your teacher is saying. Once you finish your handwritten notes, have to be handwritten, no typed notes. I don't take it, okay? You're going to take a picture of them with your webcam or your phone and upload them to your digital notebook in Google Classroom. And let me show you where that digital notebook is, okay? So in Google Classroom, under, not class resources, under period 1 and 2 resources, because that's our first unit, period 1 and 2, you'll click on your digital notebook. And here are the instructions to do so. There's even a video telling you how to upload using a webcam or a phone pictures of your notes, okay? So you will upload those to your digital notebook, and at the end of the unit, I'm checking that digital notebook for points. I'm going to be checking it throughout the unit to make sure you're keeping up with your notes. I'm giving you points for doing the ed puzzle. I'm giving you points for doing your notes. But at the end of the unit is when I do a big binder check, and in person, I'd actually flip through your notes and make sure that you took notes. But here on NTI, I'm going to flip through your digital notebook. Make sure that you're sizing those pictures so that I can see them. If you need to add extra slides to your digital notebook so that you can size it right and you have like 6 pages of notes for one of them, that's fine with me. I don't care. Okay. Chapter readings. Let's reintroduce the lovely textbook with the Transcontinental Railroad on top. Okay. So each week, you're going to be reading usually one chapter of Henrietta. I will say last year, there were 4 weeks in the year that we had to read 2 chapters. And this year, since we're starting later, it's going to happen. Sorry. But we'll get through it. Okay? So usually it's 1 chapter of Henrietta a week, sometimes 2, and you're going to take notes on it. And how do you take notes on a book like this? I'm going to be making a video about that. But basically, you read through and then summarize what you read underneath the subheading. They don't have to be super detailed. You don't need to know how many Mayans lived in the Yucatan Peninsula. You don't need to know every single government act and every single government worked. We're getting a gist from this book. This book is very detailed, and we don't need to know 100% of those details, but we need to know the history behind it, okay? So each week, there's going to be a quiz over the chapter that we do, okay? On this quiz, there's short answer questions modeled kind of like the short answer questions that you'll see on the AP exam, the part A, part B, part C. And we're going to go over how to answer those. But basically, I'm asking for a chunky paragraph each, okay? There's usually 5 or 6 short answer questions and like 8 vocab words, okay? So studying for these chapter quizzes, how do you study for them? You read the chapter. And on NTI and in person, these quizzes are open note. So if you take notes while you read this chapter and you have your lecture notes in front of you, there is 0% chance that you will not pass because you took notes. You read the chapter. You have your lecture notes in front of you. You're allowed to use them, even when we come in person, okay? And taking those notes is what's going to make you successful. If you don't read this and you don't take notes on this, then those chapter quizzes are going to be a doozy. And that would really stink because chapter quizzes are the largest portion of your grade the entire year. We have one every week. There were 30 points in the test 30-ish points in the test category every single week. Okay? Read the book. Take notes. Have your notes in front of you on the day of the chapter quizzes. And those chapter quizzes on NTI, I'm going to give you a larger chunk of time to do them because I know you have other things for other classes. When we're in class, you'd have 30 minutes. I'd take it up. You're done. Okay? But on NTI, I'm going to open the quiz at 8 a.m. and close it at 11:30. It is open note. And that is all. Not open friend, not open internet. I want you to show me what you really know. This is how I know what you got and what you didn't. If everyone uses the internet to look up the answers, which would be really hard because I wrote the questions myself. They're not copied from anywhere. Good luck. Then, and everyone does well, but nobody really knew it, then I don't know that. And I can't stop and say, hey guys, we really messed up this Revolutionary War stuff. We need to go over it again. So I need to know that you and your notes is the only thing that you used on that quiz. So I know what we know and what we don't know in class. Okay? All right, Quizlet is another part, and it's the easiest part of our weekly work, this bottom part right here. So every chapter has a corresponding set of vocab words on Quizlet. For each set, you have to do certain things. First, let me show you where to find those. So let's say we're in chapter 4 of Henrietta, and I call this Henrietta because James Henrietta wrote it. Okay, that's much easier than saying America's history because this whole class is America's history. So we call this book Henrietta. And where do we find our vocab for our chapter in Henrietta? Henrietta chapter 4. We go to Quizlet, which you should have joined on day 1. And you go to your classes. This is different on a phone. It's much easier on a phone. So your class is APUSH. You joined my APUSH class, APUS History. And it should be automatically set on sets. You scroll. Sorry, there's lots of, I have every chapter in here. And we're going to go down and find chapter 4. And when we click on chapter 4, it's going to open up, and you can do this on your Chromebook or you can do this on your phone. I will say it's a lot easier on your phone and a lot more fun on your phone, especially Match. And there are the different things that you can do for Quizlet. Okay, there are things that you have to do for Quizlet for points. And yes, I check. That's part of your weekly homework grade. Okay. For every chapter, each set, you're required to play the following games to completion once. Okay. So I read chapter 4. I'm on H4, Henrietta 4 set. I need to play the flashcards, learn, write, test, and match. Once, just once for every single one. Okay. But to 100% completion. That's the thing. You can play learn once, but it's not 100% completion until you have learned, and they'll show you every single word, okay? This is a 25-point assignment. Each of those things, if you do it to 100% completion one time, then you get that 25 points. It's 5 points each. Let's say you do flashcards, write, test, and match. Then it's 20 out of 25 points. That's okay a few weeks in a row, but eventually those points that you're losing are going to add up. This needs to be completed before 11:30 a.m. the day of the quiz. So I open your quiz from 8 to 11:30, and then when that quiz is due at 11:30, that Quizlet's due at 11:30. So you need to do it before the quiz because these are the vocab words that are on the quiz, right? And then get it done but when the quiz is due. Okay, you have all week to do it, and it's really easy, especially if you do it on your phone. Okay, then I'm going to check it that day and make sure that you've done it. And here's the thing about Quizlet. You can't make it up late. It's one of those things I do not accept late work on at all. And here's why. Why would you do it late when the quiz is already over and that's what you were building up for? You were learning those words to do well on the quiz, to be reminders on the quiz and the vocab portion of the quiz. Okay, so I cannot accept Quizlet late. Let's take a look at what these things are. So flashcards is pretty easy. There's only 11 words in each set. The most words there are is like 15 or 20. Some sets have like 7 words, so you'll be in good shape. So here's George Whitefield. I read about him. He's the first Great Awakening preacher, stressed love and forgiveness, push to convert natives. If you have read the chapter for the week, you'll already know about George Whitefield, and this will just be like a ding, 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 ding reminder about him. Okay. Flashcards, you have to click through and read every single one, and then it'll say finished off to the side, or on your phone, it'll say 100%. Learn is a little bit trickier. Learn is the one that is more difficult, so stick with me. If you just do it once, you haven't really learned them, and let me show you what I mean on here, okay? Vigilante groups, the western parts of that's a regulator movement, okay? So I click it, and it's like, woohoo, you're familiar with one of them. I have to master all 11 to be done 100%. Okay, so this isn't, if you go through the words one time, that's not really finishing the game of learn. Okay, imaginary line drawn, that's a proclamation. Okay, so now I'm familiar with 2 of the words. Eventually, it's going to start repeating until I have mastered. That means I've answered correctly on the words twice. And when I have done that it'll say like 100% or something down here. So you have to get completion to 100%. Okay. So that is learn. What else did I require you to do? Write. And you see on write, I did it before this video. I have already finished write. You see where it says finished. I've done all 11 words completely correct. Okay. I'm not making you do spell. Test is pretty easy. It'll give you a test over the words. There's only 11 questions because there's only 11 words. So that's pretty self-explanatory, and match is the fun one. And just try and get like top 5 on the leaderboard, and every once in a while I'll check when I remember and give the top 5 some extra credit. So Match it's a lot easier on your phone, by the way. You like drag and drop Albany plan, and if you get it right, it disappears, like that sort of thing. And I have had some crazy fights in my classroom over who is the top on Match, okay? So this is your weekly work. I'm linking this. You should have already joined our Quizlet class, and then I'll be linking the Edpuzzle lectures and things like that as we go throughout the class. But just remember, it's very important that you watch the lecture videos on Edpuzzle, answer the questions, take notes, and add them to your digital notebook. Read the chapter, take notes on it, take the quiz. Before you take the quiz, do the Quizlet vocabulary. Do all parts of the Quizlet vocabulary. That's part of your homework grade, okay? All right, guys, that's about it. Thank you very much.